Hey everyone, it is October 28th, 2024. Oops, yeah, 2024. This is Cindy. This is an open door. The meeting is called Where the Rubber Meets the Road. Slowing down a little bit to make sure Barbie's really in the room because she's the one that reminds me to turn the recording back on. The teaching or the conversation today is going to come from a chapter in chapter 4 of A Course in Miracles, a couple of lines from a section entitled The Devoted Teacher. But before I get there, there's a song. And I'm not going to pronounce her name right either. It's Nita Bowen. Bowen, is that how you pronounce her name? It's actually a Course in Miracles singer. And the name of the song is I Give It All to You. And I did add it to an Open Door YouTube playlist. So if you like it, that's where you can find it. And Barbie's here, so I can put it on pause and we'll play the song. Okay. Teach what you wish to learn. That's the place I'm in right now. And there's an invitation for all of us to take this really, really, really slowly. So, y'all know how much I've been loving Joel Goldsmith, and he literally just, his basic teaching, he really only has one teaching: God is all there is. And what this is a God expressing itself as individuated being. And there's an invitation to practice the presence by remembering who God is, by not denying the appearance, whatever it is, but denying that it has any power since God is only love, and then giving yourself an opportunity to get real silent and allow the mind to empty so it could be filled with God. And I'm loving it and I'm sharing it. And then yesterday, I did my gathering. Some of you were there at Awakening Together, and we focused on practicing the presence of God. Um, and the reading came from Brother Lawrence. And if anything, Brother Lawrence's teaching is even simpler than Joel's. He just says, you know, all I did is continually, consciously practice giving everything to God, not just there's no difference between my prayer time and my time in the kitchen or my time fixing shoes or if the whatever the God wants me to do, I'm going to give it to God and I'm going to do it for God. And the only mistake people make continuously is thinking they're doing something for someone other than God. And even though I'm willing to be miserable for God, the only time I'm ever miserable is when I forget to give everything to God. And when I give everything to God, all that's here is bliss. And I've been sharing the teachings of Brother Lawrence, and I've been preaching on it, even though I don't feel like anything I do is preaching, but I've been sharing it in meetings. I've been reading it. I've been accepting it. I've been walking around saying, I give this to you, God. I give this to you, God. I give this to you, God. Uh, and then I found myself coming home last night. And then again this morning, and everywhere I looked, there was nothing but judgment in my mind. How do you do that? Like, I'm looking and I think this person is too selfish, and why couldn't this person do this? And yeah, man, do you know there are a lot of bugs in Mexico? They fly and they bite you, or they crawl and they little tiny ants and big ants and whatever. I had some judgments about the bugs. Everything was irritating me. Sitting there and I'm willing but not willing. How often, or do you find yourself just not wanting to give up your story? Like, man, it feels good sometimes to just be in a bitch. And especially this one story about someone I was with last night, how he's treating others. That's what it was. It wasn't even a story about how he was treating me. It was a story about how he was treating others and how he just wasn't seeing anything. And it took me a few minutes to sit and come back to spirit, come back to spirit. And remember I was doing this teaching, or we were doing the sharing, which if you think I'm here for you, I'm here for God, I'm here for God. Um, this one section, the devoted teacher, I've been sitting with over and over and over again. And in this one section, Jesus clearly states that the root of all evil is not money. The root of all evil um, is the authority problem, which means I think of my thoughts, I think of my story, I think of your thoughts, I think of your story. Somehow I am convinced that what I am is the ego and not God, right? And um, and he says money is actually a really good representation of that because everybody has a money story. And so if you even just look at money relative to that and recognize that there are no exceptions, like these friggin' bugs are God, people who are selfish and not seeing others are God. When I want to bitch, moan, and complain about my life, uh, all I'm really doing is playing with God in a way that doesn't serve God. It's all God. And and I come back now to Brother Lawrence that says because he had an injury to his sciatic nerve. So in 1600, so there's no flush toilets. And by the way, I realize that this body loves electricity and loves flush toilets. So Brother Lawrence didn't have a flush toilet. He didn't have electricity. Probably was cold in the winter and hot in the summer. He has a sciatic nerve injury from a battle, which means he's crippled and in constant pain, right? Enters the monastery and consciously practices giving everything to God, and then has the nerve to turn around and say, the only time in anything other than bliss is when I forget to give everything to I give my story to God. So there was two quotes that I wanted to bring into our conversation today, both from the devoted teacher. And can we do this? So the first quote reads, if you are willing to renounce the role of guardian of your thought system and open it to me, I will correct it very gently and lead you home. The second quote, I will teach with you and live with you if you will think with me. Joel Goldsmith says that the only prayer worth praying to God is, I will for the joy of experiencing only you. To me, this is the same. I will teach with you and live with you if you will think with me. But my goal will be always to absolve you finally from the need for a teacher, which is the last part of the teaching, both from um, Joel Goldsmith and from Brother Lawrence. They keep saying practice, 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 practice. And there will come this time where all your thoughts will be God's. So I'm sitting with these teachings and I'm sitting with all the stories, right? And the question becomes like, what is it about the big black bugs that I only find one a day? That my head, if it just calls it a big black bug, is somewhat okay with it. But if the word cockroach comes up in my head, everything gets all squirrely. So What is it about the fact that there are these big black bugs that I refuse to call cockroaches that live in Ahihic, and somehow one of them a day likes to crawl across my room just so that I can see it. It's like it's going one a day, just one a day. Can I give all my thoughts about this one big black bug? And I've killed a number of them, so it's not the same bug unless I'm recreating it in my mind so we can go. Am I willing to renounce all of my thoughts about this one black bug? And and you're laughing. I could see Barbie laughing. But the thing is, it's no different than my bank account or the judgments I had about a brother I was having yesterday, or about Barbie's test. That I just realized was a private message to me. So Barbie has a medical appointment tomorrow. Amy's having back surgery, which is why she's not here. Am I willing to renounce all my thoughts about Western medicine and back surgery and and how other people treat their money and their girlfriends, which is part of the judgment here? It's all the same, isn't it? I mean, that a big part of this chapter was, what am I holding back from the teaching? And I don't know about you, but right here, I'm waiting for someone. You can raise your hand anytime you want. I'm sitting here seeing something in here that doesn't want to renounce my thoughts about cockroaches. And yet it doesn't say, if you are willing to renounce the role of guardian of your thought system, everything except cockroaches, and open it to me, I will correct it very gently and lead you home. I think that's really funny. So I'm going to say it out loud and then give thanks to Rana. Ready? I am willing. I am willing to renounce the role of guardian of my thought system as it relates to cockroaches and anything else. And I open it all to the Holy Spirit, the truth, to the Christ light. And I give thanks, for I know that it's going to be corrected gently. And when my thought system is corrected, I am home. Let's do it again with whatever's going on in your world right now, subtle or otherwise, politics, weather, how somebody else is treating their dog or their children. Well, it came up right away. There is a thought here that the Emma's car theft, my car situation is waiting for me to handle when I get home. Sure. So let's just do it and then I'll hand it over. Whatever's going on, you're muted, so you could say it out loud and we won't get confused. But if you're willing, I am willing. I am willing to renounce the role of guardian of my thought system as it relates to my daughter, stolen cars, as it relates, I don't even remember the other one. And I open it all to truth, to the Holy Spirit, to love. And I give thanks, for I know that it's being corrected gently. And when my thought system is corrected, I am home. Tears. There are tears, Sandra. Okay. Rana.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for those two very poignant quotes. In South Carolina, we call those big black bugs palmetto bugs, but I don't care what you call them. It's a damn cockroach. So I'm with you. But can I love them? Can I welcome them? Can I ask for my thoughts to be changed about squirrels? There hasn't been a squirrel under my car in weeks. Woohoo! For anybody that wasn't here, I had to have my power steering cable replaced because a squirrel found the soy that covers the insulation very tasty, to the tune of 700 shiny dollars. But I love those squirrels because I found that fighting with them and all that and obsessing about whether or not there's a squirrel under my car was actually making me quite insane. So today I'm grateful for those as well. A lot of times I found now as I listen to the ego thought system, there's always fear. Like I had a moment of jealousy yesterday that I was sharing with my friend. And, you know, underneath jealousy is the fear of not being enough, not, you know, not measuring up, disposable, rejectable, all those things. And so it was funny because when I noticed the thought, jealousy thought, it's like that thought just arose, but I didn't have any real emotional involvement in it. Because I questioned it, I was like, do you feel jealous? You know? And it was like, no. So the ego had just kind of brought this up, you know, seeing somebody give someone else a hug. The ego said, you're not special anymore. So interesting. So it is the pointing of these gentle lessons, you know, because I'm so grateful that I don't have to get hit over the head with 2x4s anymore and be in, you know, complete suffering and misery to see these lessons occurring right before my eyes. And so as I identified that there's fear there, you know, and fears of the ego, this was my sentence from this chapter was, again, I tell you that when you are afraid, be still and know that God is real and you are his beloved son in whom he is well pleased. I love the pointing of that sentence because God is real. The image that my thoughts made and followed up with an explanation of, you know, I'm a throwaway friend or whatever it was, you know, it's just fantasy. It's just imagination. And I'm so grateful today that I can almost watch this happening now in real time and get a giggle out of it. You know, oh, there it goes again. My ego's not my amigo, you know? I mean, it's just always trying to tell me I'm wrong and not good enough. You know, there's another pointing in there. It says, listen only to God. So I was thinking about how do I know the difference between the two voices? And the ego's voice here is usually long, critical, judgmental sentences. Somebody always ends up in the wrong, usually me, because even if I point to someone else being in the wrong, eventually it comes back, oh, I'm the one judging them for being wrong, you know, and then there's that double-edged sword that still will occur, but I laugh at that, you know, when the mind says, oh, you should feel guilty for having thought that. There's just like this, no way, you know. I proclaim my innocence now. My job is to see this when it happens and ask for the correction. And the correction has been super gentle, at least in the present last few moments of days. And then, you know, Cindy was talking about that home. You know, the home is what is carried with me throughout every day, you know, and what kind of home am I sitting in? The voice for God for me usually speaks in one word, or it's even like feels like a hug. It's not long and drawn out and, you know, it's usually something quiet, like sit with me. You know, peace is here. Rest. That's how I know that those are the messages that come through from God. Another sentence in here that I liked, it says, the reason why I can be entrusted with your body and your ego is simply because this enables you not to be concerned about them. So it's like, give it all to God, right? I don't need to be concerned about this. And it says that he will teach me their unimportance. And that's, I feel like that's the progress being made now, is just this pointing over and over again, how unimportant. And the last thing that I would like to quote is, it says, the ego has built a shabby and unsheltering home for you because it cannot build otherwise. And so today I claim the home created by Spirit that's available to me everywhere. In any restful moment, I can go back home. I can withdraw from the ego dream and not feel guilty about getting caught up, because it's the remembering Cindy taught yesterday. As soon as I remember that I got caught back up, I'm well on my way back into awakening awareness. So thank you for this pointing, Cindy. I had a good time reading and loved what you've shared this morning. Super helpful.
Thank you. And it's Regina, yeah. Regina teaches, I think it's in the teaching of Inner Ramana, that you practice whenever you remember. And when you remember to practice, the remembering will happen more and more often. You do the best you can in any given moment, and your best gets better. Barbie.
I'm sorry I laughed. It was so funny though, because I never knew a person that skeeved cockroaches as much as I do. So I had to laugh. I mean, yeah. I could, because there's only a few things I hate. Well, I don't like bugs to begin anyways. I used to, but then I got tangled up with them and I don't, you know. Snakes I used to be afraid of, but they hissed at me. So eventually, 10 years, 20 years later, I petted a snake, but it was like I'm a distance away. So now I could touch a picture of a snake. Don't bother me. Spiders, they bother me, especially tarantulas. And even I could get away with the other spiders. But when it comes to tarantulas, I can't even touch the picture. But I could love everything else. But why can't I love those bugs that I hate? That, I guess, thanks to you, I gotta work on it. But ever since last Thursday, all the way till today, the stars have been aligning themselves for me to experience what I'm experiencing. Because Sunday at your gathering, your songs gave me the answer. They showed me what I knew, but I got the feedback that I needed, but I really don't need. But sometimes I cry over it, but I know that's a cry of joy. Like the other day, I had pain, and it was bad, so I was going to have a pity party. I accepted the pain, and I was going to. Then I said, I said no, and then after I went, whatever I experienced, I think they were tears of joy, because God was with me. I had a long talk with him, so and up to today, what you're talking about resonates. Everything I do, everything I read, everything I'm saying, even the lessons they all correspond to what I'm going through. So I guess God is showing what I'm, I'm being steered into where I'm supposed to be.
You want this water on?
30. So I guess I'm so, I'm enjoying life. I'm enjoying the pain. I'm enjoying everything. And I've been in a state of bliss for every day except today. Because I'm in real pain today, more so than before, but pain is pain. You can't put
So
you can't put it.
let's just, are you willing to do a little bit of work with this idea that you're not in bliss right now?
Okay,
So one of the other things in this, I'm gonna spend some time with this one little section. It's blowing me away. There's even a line in here that every time I look at it, I have it highlighted and I think of Richard. You ready, Richard, for this line? It's right there. The dreamer who doubts the reality of his dream while he is still dreaming, it is not really healing this level split. You have dreamed of a separated ego and you have believed in a world which rests upon it. This is very real to you. You cannot undo this by doing nothing and not changing. If you are willing to renounce the role of guardian of your thought system and open it to me, correct it very gently and lead you home. But every time I read, like, you have taught me more about the dream character than any book, anything. And even with your sitting here saying I have a new relationship with it, I think about you several, like whenever I'm sitting here looking at the ego and the mind and what we're doing, somehow, Richard, you're part of it. I'm just very grateful. Yeah. But here's the thing, Barbie. You ready? This section also clearly states over and over and over again that the two thought systems, the ego and Jesus's, they don't ever intersect. All right. So when I heard you say, I have to love it or I have to let it go with these bugs, that's not what this teaching is to me. This teaching doesn't say, from the standpoint of the ego separate dream character, I have to do something different. What it says to me, and I think what was the word? I had to look at it. Announcement or something. What it says is, from this state of current suffering, what I can do is give my willingness to hand this moment over to the Holy Spirit. That's it. That's it. It doesn't say from the egoic dream character thought system, I've got to change my mind or I've got to do it differently. What it says is, from the sense of me being in charge of my life, I can give my willingness to surrender this moment to truth. So what you had said was there's a lot of pain in your body. And Rana, and maybe she'll open her, because she has it written down. This one little section in the course also said, invites us to surrender both the thinking and the body to this thought system. So we don't have to do anything but give our willingness to surrender it. You with me?
yes, and that's what I do. I surrender, I surrender, I surrender. But how much every time I surrender the pain to God, but I have to keep on surrendering. When does it stop? Or doesn't it ever?
Well, it doesn't. It gets to the point where it doesn't matter
Okay.
because because God doesn't feel pain, and this work isn't about fixing the body.
I know.
The work is about knowing the truth of who you are and allowing we separate from identifying with whatever's going on in the dream character. So right here with where you are, this is the body is in pain. The body's in agony. Man, it hurts. Fucking tired of it hurting, right? In that state, with all the power in your heart, just are you willing to renounce the role of the guardian of your thought system? Are you willing to let go from where you are, feeling a victim of the body, which is what I'm hearing. This is what happens in me when I can't stand the pain. I feel like I'm a victim. I'm trapped in here and I can't get out. Does that make sense?
Yes, because today it was like I know I feel my body falling apart,
All right.
but I know that God's with me and God's going to keep me safe. I mean, not keep me safe, but I know He's with me, and I know He's walking with me, and hope and I
Yeah.
can't find the
So,
word.
right, with all of this, just from your heart, are you willing to just surrender all your thinking about it to God?
Yes.
All right, then feel into that and just rest there and let the body do what the body is doing. And I'm waiting for others to add to this or to see if this makes sense, because this is just what's the words that are coming through me right now. I am willing to renounce the role of guardian of my thought system and open it to Jesus. And I give thanks, knowing that the truth, Jesus or the Holy Spirit or God, the word doesn't matter. Supreme Brahman, consciousness, love will correct it very gently, and I will know I am home.
Because even during my meditation this morning, I was in pain. This is when I says I'm breaking down, but I know God's with me and He'll take care of me. And I says, even if I'm supposed to die, I'll be okay. That's where my mind is right now.
Well, the mind and the body at some point is going to drop, but you're not the mind and you're not the body.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to wrap. Andrew's going to say whatever, but that's just it. The mind and the
Thank
body,
you.
this mind, this body, Cindy's story, all of it is temporary. I am eternal. Andrew.
Thank you. I'm grateful for everyone sharing. I love it all, and grateful to you, Cindy, for having these Zoom meetings. There's something in the Course that says pain and pleasure have the same purpose, to make the body real. There's also a line somewhere that says, call pain pleasure and it won't be pain anymore. I don't know it. I've never really succeeded at doing that, but you that's the purpose of pain. And honestly, living in the world is full of contrasts. You wouldn't have pleasure without something to contrast with it. It would be meaningless. Just like if there was only darkness, you wouldn't need a name for it. It would be whatever it is. So that's all I have to say about the pain. Getting back to thoughts uh, of the mind, all my thoughts seem to be egoic thoughts. The only time I feel connection to spirit is when I can quiet my mind. I don't really get like communication. I don't get audible communication or visual. I get feelings. That's how I communicate with God, or He communicates with me, Holy Spirit. And as far as bugs go, we have to deal with them. They're part of the plan too, somehow. At least in nature, the life depends on everything. Bugs are part of the food chain, and I kill them by the millions because I spray all around my house. I don't want them coming in the house. Anyway, thanks again. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Thank you. Just a quick question, Barbie, is it still intense pain?
No, it's subsiding. Before, when I was talking to you, when I first told my story, oh, it was really bad. But as we're talking, it's going away. But then later on, it keeps on fluctuating. Bad, good, but I'm
Yeah,
taking it.
don't let the mind go into the future. I just asked you how it felt now.
I know. I'm feeling like I'm good, and I always accept what I'm experiencing, and I try not to focus further than right now.
Right. But your mind just attempted, and I bet you
I know.
everybody could say your mind just attempted to say, feeling pretty good now. But an hour from now it's gonna hurt again. And that's just the mind projecting a body into the future. So catch it, that's
Okay,
all. And
thanks.
be willing to give that thought to God to correct. That's the work. I wanted to confirm what I felt, that this story of intense pain wasn't surviving the energy of this conversation. It's important to put a pin in that when it happens. In a day go.
Hi, so great to be here. I love so much being here. um, I just I wanted to share. It was from Bill Free. He said, and this is what I do. And he said, when you're experiencing any kind of discomfort, pain, whatever, he said to bring it in, to bring it all in, and to love it and kiss it and tell it it is welcome. And and he said that whatever you're experiencing, that it is love and that it is here for me. It's just I don't know that. And in my mind I'm thinking, no, this is not feeling good. But that's my mind. And so anyway, so that's, and then I just tell God, okay, God, okay, this is like feeling like it's hurting. And so I just say, okay, God, I surrender. You show me what to do because I don't know. So that's what I've learned to do. And then I just get quiet. And the other thing too is I know that everything is here for us. I know that everything is love and that everything is here for us. So that's so yeah, that's just what I wanted to share. And yeah, so I just, and you can hear Bill Free does he does an hour on and he does these meditations where he just gets quiet and he goes within. And for me anyway, that's really changed everything for me because he goes one with I am, and for me, when I did that, it was so amazing. So check it out if you like. Um, um, and I love everyone. I'm so grateful to be here, and sending you love, Barbie, and yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nateka. Love you. Mr. Donnelly's in the house with his hand up.
Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. Sorry to hear about the pain, Barbara, but I'm sure if you follow the wisdom of Cindy and Andrew and they go, you'll be fine. Everything in the illusion comes and goes, right? The only thing that doesn't come and go is you. So hang in there. Um, um, when you were talking about prayer earlier, what came to mind was I think it's chapter, there's a section in chapter 6 of the Course in Miracles that says, to give all to all. And that reminded me of the prayer of giving everything to God, every moment of every experience that you have. So, and the other thing that came to mind when you were talking, Cindy, was a quote from Robert Spira in his book, The Ashes of Love. He said there are three possibilities in life: to be something, nothing, or everything. And the first, there is suffering. And the second, there is peace. And in the third, there is happiness and love. So, having tried to embody that in my life, my experience as a separate self, when it comes to bugs, like most, I kill them as easily and quickly as I can. And I've done that most of my life. I still hire a company to spray my house inside and outside twice a year. And so I kill a lot of bugs over the year, whether directly or indirectly. But in the last few years, I've changed my attitude about bugs. When I see a bug, regardless of what the bug is, I have a conversation with them. First I do is I recognize we are one, that we are both expressions of the love that we both are. And I have a conversation with them and say, I don't want to kill you because we are one. I love you. But if you hang around here much longer, I'm going to kill you. So please, let me love you and disappear. And they always disappear. I mean, I give them, and I no longer have to kill a bug. So, that works for me. So, love
It
you
was
all.
I gotta tell you, Richard, it was a smaller one this morning. And he kept coming out and looking at me and then running under the bed. And then he came up and I was essentially looking at him going, you're almost cute. I really don't want to kill you. And then it literally ran, because these are like, they're stone walls. It ran into the wall and disappeared. I'm like,
Right.
"What bathroom is there?" Oh, no, it just literally did what you said.
It works. Yeah.
I was like,
Love you all.
love you too. Hey, Livy,
Hey there, can you hear me okay?
we can hear you.
All right, Richard, I did the same thing the other night. I've been dealing with fleas in my house, and it's caused me fear and guilt that I'm not doing enough or whatever. And the other night, I just paused and I had with the fleas, and I tried to speak with the head flea if there was one, and I just said, you have every right to be here as much as I do. We are both one. We're both beings of love, and I'm not sure what your purpose is. And so, I really would prefer not to kill you. So what I'm doing is I'm just, from the bottom of my heart, I'm just asking, if y'all would leave with love. If you can do that, that would just be great. Now, whether or not that's gonna happen, I don't know. And it made me feel better, and it lessened the fear and the I'm not doing enough thing. And I'm just going to keep doing what I'm.
She disappeared.
That's how high her
Did-
vibration was.
Did anybody do to her
Oh, there she
what she
is.
was doing to Richard was doing to Bugs? Sorry, Lucy. We love you. Are you back?
I got disconnected. Can you hear me?
We could hear you. Sorta. Hello.
Now I can't hear anything. Oh, well, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, we can hear you now. Or not. All right. Sorry. Bugs. All right. Anybody else? Who's next? Rana.
Well, it's interesting. I did practice the spider relocation program out of the pool the other day. So I like Richard's pointing about just kind of being one with it. And this is why I wanted to share is in some of my contemplations lately, I've been questioning my most recent spiritual aspiration, which came to me when I was in a retreat with Cindy a couple months back. And so I've been practicing the phrase God is, and it's felt really appropriate. But something was having me question that over the last several weeks. And now I'm thinking that this is what the pointing is. What I heard clearly was see everything and everyone as the same. Because what I asked in the contemplation, because I'm just getting sick of the comparison and the judgment, the running thing, it's not volitional, right? But when you walk into a store, like the mind is just like critiquing everybody's hairstyle and what shoes they have on. And I'm just like sick of it. And so in contemplation and saying, I'm really sick of this behavior, that's what arose. Was see everything and everyone is the same. So that feels like it's the key to this change that I'm asking for. And of course, what I learned yesterday was, the thoughts may still arise. I may still hear them, but I don't need to listen to them. But there is a sense of a little consternation, right? Of not being able to look at a group of people without a narration having to be there. So look forward to any feedback. Thank you.
Well, we'll see what Richard has to say.
What came to mind was, I'm just going to say to people what I say to bugs.
I love you, but if you don't get out of here, I'm gonna kill you.
Well, no, I'm thinking, in my mind.
Oh my God. It's gonna completely change my day, Richard. Absolutely. Andrew.
And just a short comment on the ego thoughts. Well, like I said earlier, all my thoughts are ego thoughts. I'm only in touch with God when my mind is still. So I just constantly remind myself that these thoughts are ego thoughts. And it helps in that I don't dwell on something. Like I don't dwell on a grievance. I see something I don't like, I acknowledge it, but then I just realize it's an ego thought and think of something else, another ego thought. Thank you.
Thank you. Sandra.
I wasn't going to say anything, but here I go. First of all, this is really fun. It's been better than a comedy show today. I've had such good laughs. But the thought that came in, I don't know if it was an ego thought or not, but it doesn't matter. I just know that I'm meant to experience everything, including ego thoughts. I'm meant to experience them. And what happens now is as I see that, I go, oh, I got to see what that felt like again. I get to see what that felt like to judge. I get to see what that felt like to get angry. It's pretty clear to me that I'm here to experience, even all the times before waking, when we look back and we say, oh, that was suffering. I was meant to experience that. And sometimes when I get really sick of being Sandy, when I go, oh, I'm just sick and tired of being that, that's when I wake up to it. That's when I'm aware of it. That's when I know there's another way and that I'm not that, and that then I get the beautiful experience, which is another experience of, yes, they're beautiful. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. So it's not, I'm no longer like judging myself for judging. It's like, that's what I was supposed to do. So I could see the contrast, maybe. I don't really know why. I'm let go of that too. I'm not going to figure it out. It's part of the mystery, but I know that living this life in this form for this time has become much more amazing, real, vibrant, all those words. That's it.
Richard's back.
Yeah, that's an interesting share. And I've dealt with the same thing. What really confused me in the past was every time the real I, experiences separation from source, it's always as Richard. So I say to myself, I have said to myself, why can't I experience Sandra instead of Richard? If we're all one, why isn't my experience always Richard? And I've come to a point in my evolution, which is accept that's my experience. Somehow I choose the veil of forgetfulness maybe is the reason I don't know why this is the way it is. I don't know. I never know. And I'm okay with that. So I'm just at peace knowing that every time I experience being a separate self, my experience will be as Richard, even if Richard goes away. So like many of the, quote, liberated teachers I've listened to, when Richard goes away, I'm okay. because I don't need Richard anymore. I've been glad to experience life as Richard. It's been a blessing so far. I have no reason to expect it won't continue in the future. As long as I'm a body and mind, that's my way of experiencing love. My way of experiencing I am. So I'm getting more and more comfortable with that every day. So I laugh at my dream figure a lot these days. But I love Richard anyway, even though he's an idiot sometimes. So love you all.
Love you too. And hey, Barbie, as we're ending this, there was a desire to hear how the body's doing in this moment.
Thank you, everybody, I know the stuff, but sometimes it doesn't want to sink down. And everybody, you helped. And the body feels great.
All
I
right, so
feel
the
great.
next, if by any chance and if you were at my homily yesterday, I decided to call all ego thoughts bananas. That's I'm walking around going, that's just another banana story. So you'll know if you were there yesterday. But we could
Yeah, I
also
was.
just call it a cockroach story. You know, they're all the
I love
same, right?
bananas. I love bananas. I hate cockroach, so I'll keep it a cockroach. Maybe I'll get to love it more.
Yeah.
I
All right.
love bugs.
God
I
is.
used to.
All right. I love us all. That's a wrap. Mwah!
Thanks, everyone.